Hello, gorgeous ones. Welcome back to the Unstoppable You podcast with Evelyn Kelly. I'm your host, Evie, life and confidence coach and business mentor. And I, as always, but especially today, am so excited to be back here and to be recording and podcasting and connecting with you all in this way. I have missed you and just beaming. Brimming full of excitement and anticipation and gratitude for this year ahead for 2025. So today, at the time of recording this episode, it's my first day back in the office officially for the new year for 2025. And I'm really excited to be here and to be sharing these things and to be back into my office and back doing something that I deeply love that really does not feel like work to me. And yeah, so exciting. So today's episode is a bit more of a personal one where I'm going to take you through my reflections, my lessons, my insights from 2024, from last year, and also going to be sharing my word for 2025 and some of my intentions and goals for the new year ahead. So I'm excited for this episode and can't wait to dive in. I think it's going to be a big, juicy one. And I hope that it's interesting, thought-provoking, inspiring for you. And hopefully it gives you a bit more insights and a bit more of the behind-the-scenes look into my personal life and into the year that was. And yeah, what I really want to create and manifest into this new year. So really excited for that. So before we dive in, because sometimes I must admit, I forget the quote. So today's quote is actually one that is on my my browser, my web browser home screen. It's like a screensaver. It says the time. It also gives you like a quote for the day and your mantra for the day. And I've just done this forever. It's always on there. It's like set. I don't even know what's called. Anyway, DM me if you're interested and I'll look into that for you. But anyway, there's a quote that's always shared on there. And this is today's quote and I loved it. And I thought, how fitting. I love that this was just meant to be. So today's quote is, do a little more of what you want to do every day until your idea becomes what's real. I'm going to say that again. Do a little more of what you want to do every day until your idea becomes what's real. I love this. I couldn't agree more. And I think, the biggest thing that comes up for me here, and it's actually something that came up in my own journaling and some of the insights that were dropping in for me when I've been reflecting and planning for the new year, is this idea of actioning things and doing little bits towards it or taking small steps towards the bigger goal or vision and allowing ourselves to quote unquote fail, to trial and error, to not just wait. I think so many people just wait for the full vision or the complete vision to land or, something to align perfectly or the conditions or the situation to be quote unquote perfect or for them to feel really good or whatever it might be, right? We place all these conditions on it or these parameters or we wait or we hold ourselves back and we tell ourselves these stories. But I really believe a big part of success and, exactly what that quote is sharing is that sometimes we just need to do a little bit more of it every single day. Or maybe we can just take some small, consistent steps towards it. Maybe it's just that 1% change and growth each day, that one step forward. And maybe that's not even every day, but maybe that's every week for you, knowing that maybe if it's a business goal, it might not be that you work in your business every single day, and that's absolutely fine. But whether it's a personal thing or a business thing, I just think doing more of it, of course, it's going to give you that insight, the feedback. It's going to be helping you grow and learn and take those lessons. And ultimately, that's like, there's no secret to all of this. It's like if you want the things that you want, you've got to take action towards those things. Anyway, I feel like that's like a nice little way to set the scene for today's podcast episode. So yeah, that's today's quote. Don't know who it's by, but it's a goodie. Alrighty, my loves. The second thing that I wanted to share before we dive in is if you want to be coached by me in 2025, I would love to support you. There's two key options here. The first one is one-to-one life coaching. So one-to-one life coaching, life and confidence coaching is all about really connecting with your true self, really building a loving, self-confident, believing, trusting relationship with yourself, being your most authentic self, feeling really empowered and going after the things that you really want. It's about overcoming the people pleasing, all of the mindset wobbles and the chitter chatter, really developing this beautiful relationship and connection with your true self, and knowing that everything is better when we have that beautiful, loving connection with ourselves and we let that shine through in everything that we do. So that's a little bit about one-to-one life coaching. It's a 3-month coaching package, and then also one-to-one business coaching. So this is if you have a soul-led business, if you are a coach, a space holder, a healer of some sort, and you want to go big on your soul's work this year and create so much more impact, more about like business your way, creating an authentic and aligned business. That is my cup of tea. That is my process, and I believe the only way to really create a sustainable business and success for yourself. So if you're interested in that, then there's a 3-month coaching package available for that as well. Limited spots available. Send me a message on Instagram. We'll share the links in the show notes or the description below so you can get amongst it. You can book yourself a free call, send me a question, send me an email or a message, and I would love to chat with you about that some more. Okay, so I feel like there's so much to cover today, and I'm like, where do we even start? Let's start at 2024, reflecting on 2024. Oh my goodness, 2024 feels like such a long time ago. Actually, only a couple of weeks ago, 6 days ago to be precise. However, the start of last year felt like a really, really long time ago. So I'm going to go through a bit of a reflection and then share some of my key lessons and insights from the year that's been. And I hope that these resonate and maybe interesting. Maybe they resonate with you, maybe not. And that's totally cool. So it was a big year for me last year in many ways. And 2024 was a bit of a mixed bag, I want to say. It was a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like there was so many blessings and so many beautiful moments and so many things to be grateful for, so many wonderful moments and memories and experiences. I think there was also this underlying current, I want to say, of this expansion, this growth, this almost unlearning, this refining, this tweaking, and that growth is not always comfortable and easy. And I think that there was this underlying current of that throughout a lot of the year, of like feeling a bit uncomfortable in that growing and in that expanding and in that unlearning, but equally knowing that I had to be in that and I just had to wait it out and show up for it consistently. And I can speak more about this now, you know, gone through most of it, although I still feel like I'm somewhat on that journey and in that space still, as we all are often. But definitely in this last year, it's a big growth season for me. Anyway, so I'll talk more specifically to that, but my word for last year. So I create a word or something lands, intuitively comes to me where there's a theme, a word, something that I'm really wanting to feel into, connect with more, create more of, grow into, those kind of things. And so most of the time, this is just an intuitive download. It's not like I want to do this, and so I'm going to say that this is my word for the year. It's actually something really that comes from within that you can't force. And it's so funny. I smile at myself every single year that this happens, is that it's almost like the word lands, and then sometimes I'm like, I resist it, or I'm like, I challenge that idea. I'm like, no, I don't think that's actually it. But then it keeps coming back to me. So I'm like, okay, this is my word, and I just need to embrace that. Anyway, so my word for 2024 was alignment. And now, backstory to this, as you probably know, or if you haven't heard much of my journey, I feel like this word of alignment, like so much of my life changed in my late 20s and early 30s when I was, or mid to late 20s really, when I was doing so much of my inner work and healing, and I worked with coaches and did so much growth and personal development work on myself, which is life-changing, which is why I do what I do now. And yeah, it was just such a great gift. And so, you know, since then, and definitely then becoming a coach myself and building this beautiful soul-led business, and so much of my life was in alignment. So much of it I had created that I loved. And I would say that that was the same for me in 2023 and 2024. Like, I loved so much of my life and so much of it was aligned. But for me, that word alignment was like, it was just a refining of it. It was like the few percentage of differences. It wasn't like these massive changes, like I'm in the wrong career, or I'm in the wrong relationship, or something is not fitting or feeling right for me anymore. It was more a refinement of that. And this has been that unraveling, the process of figuring out that stuff and letting go, being brave and courageous enough to let go of some of those things that weren't in alignment with me, like 100% in alignment with me anymore. And that takes courage. And like I said, it was like showing up for this and figuring that stuff out and wading through the mud at times and being okay to sit in that void as well. And yeah, I'm going to share a little bit more in terms of business as well in that, but that was definitely a big theme for me in 2024. And now I reflect back and think, oh my goodness, I feel like so different from that version of Evie that went into 2024. So if I go back and share some of the things that were going on for me personally and in business over the last year, I feel like you'll get me on this one. So this time last year, 2024, early 2024, I had my baby girl, Blake Willow, was only 14 months old, just over a year. And so up until that point, I was only ever working about 1 day a week in my business. So I had 1 day a week where I had my husband Brooke at home with her, and we were sort of co-parenting and juggling between the two. And I did all my calls and recordings and those sorts of things on that day. And then I would work on the other days and nap times, and where I would do other bits and pieces around my business. And we just made that work for the first 18 months of her life. And so back in January last year, I was still only working 1 day a week in my business, and we didn't have any other formal childcare support. It was just Brooke and I managing, and we were running 2 big businesses at the time as well. And so I look back and I think, gosh, that was a lot. And I look back with so much like gratitude and I'd like just so proud of myself and our family unit for how we parented and navigated that season, and learning how to be a mum and parent, and of course that evolves at every stage that they grow and evolve, right? It's so different. Anyway, mamas, and other parents, you'll get me on that one. So it was really interesting. So business was just so different back then, right? And so that was sort of that. And then I only really had capacity to run the Strategy and Soul Mastermind at the time. And so that was my sole focus in the business at that point of time, purely based on my capacity. And then we had some other beautiful things happening. So it was summertime. We had 2 of our family weddings, which was just magic. So in March last year, early March, we saw my sister-in-law get married, which was so beautiful. Blake was a little flower girl and she looked so cute. So that was really beautiful. And then later that month, we went down to Queenstown in the South Island of New Zealand here, and my younger sister, May, got married. And that was just so beautiful. I was a bridesmaid. It was such a beautiful, special holiday away, and seeing her get married, and all the feels. So those were really beautiful things. And then in that same month, March was a big month, I also ran the Soulful Business Day retreat, and that was at the Bali Gardens here, or a little bit further north of Auckland. And that was just such a beautiful in-person event. It was a half-day retreat, or a day retreat essentially. And gosh, the women that were there, the feedback that I received, the love and the energy in the room was just so beautiful. It was my first official big event that I had created, sold, and ran. And it was such a beautiful space, and I absolutely loved it. And I still have so many fond memories. I look back on the photos and I'm like, can we do it all again? Message me if you're keen to do something like that again. I'm definitely keen to create some more event spaces. So yeah, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on that one. So that was a really beautiful win for me. It was a really, big month, but a really beautiful one personally and professionally in the business as well. And then fast forward, actually around that same time, the other big decision that we had made personally in our family life was that Blake and I started at Play Centre. So Play Centre is essentially a parent-led daycare for those of you who don't know. And I went to Play Centre when I was a child. So my mum took us girls when we were little. And then it's so special being able to do this now with Blake. And it's been a huge commitment, yes, but I think it's been one of the best decisions for me and for Blake. Like, it's so wonderful seeing how she grows and makes connections and friends and all the like play and creativity and learning that happens there. But also it's just been so wonderful for me to connect and make friends with some other really beautiful mamas in the area. And that's just been so nourishing and enriching and just really supportive for me and for Blake. I think it's been such a great decision for us both. And so we're absolutely continuing that next year, obviously, or this year rather. But that was been a big decision as well, and a big growth edge, but yeah, a really beautiful one. So then what's next? Like that sort of, I feel like there was like two parts of the year. That was that first part. And then from April onwards, that's when my mum became our nanny. So we pay her 2 days a week to be our nanny. So she's here with Blake. She has Blake on those days. I'm still working from home, obviously, and here and help a little bits, but mainly these are my work days. And so my capacity in business grew so much, which has been so wonderful. I've loved it. And also just wonderful to have that extra support. So she helps with Blake and some of our meals and things around the house and some cleaning and things like that. And that's just been, the best decision for us all, again, for Blake and her to have that beautiful special relationship, and then for me to give that to me and into my business as well. It's been really, really wonderful. So yeah, like that's kind of like before that and then after that, because I feel like that was a big decision, because then Brooke went back to full-time work. So he was always working full-time because it's, it's your own business, but it meant that he wasn't having a designated day with Blake and that my mum was. And so he had a bit more capacity in his businesses and has grown so much, which is another story. Maybe we should get him on to share that, because it's been really inspiring to witness and support him on that journey as well. But yeah, that's kind of like this big thing that happened that kind of differentiates or segments the year for us as a family and for me personally. So some of the things that I'm really proud of, I'm going to go through some of my notes here and share some of the things with you. And then I've written down some really beautiful lessons, like some themes and some lessons that came through, because it's hard to almost summarize it all, but I think that some of these lessons summarize it a lot. I think some of the things that I created, that are highlights, achievements, things that I'm really proud of this year, was really a part of that journey of the alignment piece, right? Was really coming back and connecting to my intuition and trusting myself and my intuition and listening to those whispers. And that's absolutely a theme for next year as well. But I think that journey has been such an incredible, empowering and a journey, and something that I'm really, really proud of. I think some of the other things business-wise, oh my goodness, there was so much. So we launched the mastermind twice. I've run 2 rounds of the mastermind. Every year we run 2 rounds. And so wonderful, so wonderful. The results, the transformations, the connections, the conversations, the growth and impact that people are having through themselves and through their soul-led businesses is just amazing. And I've just absolutely loved that. And then we created and launched the confidence code. So a big part of that alignment piece was realizing that as I had more capacity and time in my business, I really wanted to bring back more life coaching and more of the life and confidence coaching that I first started with. And that was literally my bread and butter. It was my everything until sort of the business coaching and the mastermind came in as well. And in around end of 21, I believe. Yes. And so that was really cool. And creating the confidence code was just a download. It was a real easy, like, it came through. It was a clear vision. I basically created it, launched it, and delivered it in a really short time space. And it was such a successful launch. And I loved it, and really, really excited to hear more feedback as it comes through. But I've just loved it. It's been such a good thing for me, and something that was definitely really, really aligned to me. It took me a while to get there, but So proud of that. Bringing back more one-to-one life coaching and one-to-one business coaching as well. And that is absolutely a focus more for 2025. More on that soon. Gosh, there's so many wonderful things. We rebranded the podcast. So it was Elevate Your Life, but that really, I'd outgrown that. And so it was really about this theme of becoming unstoppable, of, whether that's through your life, through life coaching, or whether that's through your business. And I think that was a big thing, or like an aha moment for me, was realizing that my ideal client is essentially the same person. I just support and help them in different ways, whether they have a business or not. And so really that piece around becoming unstoppable is really about, creating a rock solid, unwavering belief in yourself, inner confidence, really owning your worth, overcoming people pleasing, the mindset wobbles, the things that hold us back in life, and ultimately being your most authentic self. And that's through life coaching. And then in the business coaching space, really sharing your authentic magic with the world, sharing the impact, the service, the love that you want to share and serve your people through, and creating a solid business. And a big theme for me that's come through my messaging, which is a part of my own journey and lessons this year or last year, was business your way. I have worked with lots of different people in the past, and there was one person that I felt like I was creating very much, or she was teaching me to create very much a similar business to hers. And I decided to no longer work with her, obviously, because I felt really disempowered and really disconnected from my intuition. And it was a really disheartening experience in many ways. And no disrespect, love that human, but that wasn't the space and the support that I needed. And so much of this year has been about, so earlier in the year, I was working with them, stopping that and really coming back to my truth and my voice and my intuition and what's true for me, and trusting myself again, and realizing that this idea of like, no, I coach not to tell people what to do in their businesses. It's about creating business your way. It's about creating an authentic and aligned business to you. It's about using your intuition as your greatest guide and a compass, more than any other coach or guru or consultant can tell you. And I realized that experience was very much more of a consulting experience and less of a coaching experience. And I am a coach. I'm trained to be a coach. I've done, I'm certified in this, and everything that I do is about coaching. And it's really about empowering you, supporting you to make the best, most empowered decisions for you, that are aligned to you, that are authentic to you, that feel right, and support you to bring that to life. Yes, to stretch and grow. Yes, to help you, see your blind spots and push through those edges and things like that. Absolutely. But ultimately it has to come from within. So business your way was a huge part of my journey, and a huge part of the business, my business's journey this year, is refining, tweaking, testing, trialing out some different messaging, the podcast rebrand, obviously. And and I don't know if that's necessarily been evident or obvious for other people from the outside in, but it's certainly been something that I've been navigating and figuring out. And I'm really proud of the process that I've gone through, and really proud of the results, because it feels so good. It feels so good now. Like, it really does. And that's why I'm so excited for this new year, because so much of that weeding out, processing, letting go, refining has been done. And I'm sure there's a bit more, absolutely, as we grow and evolve. I think there is some, to some extent, at almost every growth level, but it feels really good. It feels really solid. I feel really solid in my authenticity and in my alignment and my thought leadership, and how that plays out into my business and my work and my soul's work. And again, it's like, it's never these like massive tweaks and changes. It's the tiny little 1% refining things that's been it for me this year. So a big thing is that messaging, my messaging thing, and my lesson around business your way. It's something that I wholeheartedly believe. It's something that I'll always preach and coach and support people with, because I truly believe, from lived experience and from working with many clients over the years, it is the only way for success, and sustainable success that feels really good for you. What else? It's like celebrating so many wonderful clients, returning clients, coming back, for one-to-one support, for strategy calls, for the mastermind. It's been so, so incredible. And the results, the transformations, the wins, there's just, obviously these are all personal things that I can't share on the podcast, but gosh, there's been some incredible experiences and transformations, and that gets me every single time. And that is my why. Is people changing their lives for the better, changing their businesses and their impact and their purpose, their deep sense of fulfillment in their life and in their work this year. And it's just been, the best. So, okay, I'm going to go back through. Yeah, there's so many wonderful things, but I'm going to go back through some of my lessons because I think that summarizes it better. And I've already been talking for a long time. So to condense this down a wee bit, guys, because girl can talk. These are some of my greatest lessons and insights from last year that I really wanted to share with you. And I think, I think they've been really beautiful ones for me, really empowering and not always easy ones, but good nonetheless. So the first lesson is trust your intuition over and above anything and anyone else. Yes. And this is absolutely a theme for 2025 for me as well. But this is a lesson that I really, really listened to, had to work through and come back to. And it's interesting because I teach this stuff, right? But it was almost like I was schooled on my own lesson at the start of the year. And then it's like figuring out, piecing this back together from then on. The second one is not everything in your business or your life has to always make sense or be profitable, etc. There's more to it. Sometimes, it's not all about the numbers or the metrics or the profitability or that it just makes sense. Sometimes we need to do it, or we do things because it brings us joy, because we want to, because it brings us more fulfillment, because you want to do it. And that's a great reason to do it as well. So the second lesson is not everything in your business or your life has to make sense or be profitable or, be ticking all the boxes in many ways. If it feels right and true and good for you, if it brings you joy or fulfillment, or you just want to do it, then those are wonderful reasons to do it. And you should listen to that. And that's absolutely been a lesson for me. I need to do another episode on this one, I think, because it deserves its own full conversation. But I did mention this on my Instagram stories, and people were a little bit curious about this. Was originally when I first wanted to do YouTube and bring the podcast onto video for YouTube, I was told that it probably doesn't really make sense given the stage of my business, given the size of my audience, given my time capacity as a new mama and someone who wanted to still be really present mama and not put my child in daycare 5 days a week. So I was told basically it didn't really make sense. However, this year, and one of my biggest wins and lessons and something I'm really proud of, is that we brought YouTube back and that we rebranded the podcast to be the Unstoppable You podcast. And that, I was like, no, I want to do YouTube. This idea doesn't stop, doesn't leave me alone. It kept coming back time and time again. It was like knocking on my door, these little nudges. And so I was like, if I want to do it and it feels right and my intuition is telling me to do it, I'm going to do it. And so that's a really great reason. Yeah, maybe time-wise, setup-wise, growth, community-wise, it doesn't necessarily fully make sense for me. I get that, but who cares? I wanted to do it, so I'm doing it. And I'm loving it. So I'm so glad I did it. It's something I'm so proud of. Okay, business your way. I've talked about this already, but that's been a huge lesson for me and would love to gift that to you. And if it feels right and true and good for you this year, maybe that's another little mantra or something that you really want to focus on, create, and be intentional about. The fourth one, giving back to me. I've realized the hard way, not necessarily hard way, actually. That's a lie. But I realized that actually giving back to me is really important. So when I have child-free time, when my little girl is with my mum, who's our nanny, it's really important for me also to use that time for things that really nurture and nourish me and support me as a human as well. So not always, doing productive business stuff or working or whatever it might be. And actually giving back to me is really important too. I mean, we are the businesses, right? Remember that one. Okay, the second to last lesson, so the fifth one here, is going through challenges, rougher seas, and the voids will strengthen your resilience and show you what you're really capable of. Yes to that. I kind of alluded to this fact that, yeah, that it was this rougher seas, challenges, feeling a little bit icky, the refinement piece for me, and the voids, the slower seasons, the slower months, those sorts of things really do strengthen you and really do make you more resilient and show you truly how capable you are. I was sharing this with a lady who we did a discovery call with just before Christmas for one-to-one business coaching this year, and I was talking about, what I've seen in businesses over the last few years since COVID times, and the economic challenges and things like that, and all of the changes, etc. Huge. But I was sharing with her is that I think the people that are in it for the right reasons and the people that are willing to do the work, to refine, to learn, to grow, to evolve and pivot when they need to navigate those voids and those challenges with love and grace and resilience are the businesses, are the people that sustain it, that win, right? And so, yeah, I think that that's really been a lesson for me this year, and something that I've seen in many businesses as well. The last one, when you are your most authentic self and face your true north, magic happens, doors open, and the universe celebrates and supports you. I love that one. Yes. This is 100% my journey this year. And I think that, even though there was those testing times and it felt really stretchy in the growth edges and figuring those things out, I really believe that when you are your most authentic self and when you are fully in alignment, when you face your true north, magic really does happen. And yeah, you will just be so much more supported, but also you'll feel so freaking good doing it as well. So those are my lessons. Those are my lessons for 2024. Oh my goodness. Now, I can't believe we're already half an hour through this podcast episode and I haven't even talked to you about 2025. So let's do this. Normally I set this into 2 different episodes, but do you know what? And I didn't actually tell the story at the start. I was planning to do the reflection episode end of last year, but there were so many things that cropped up along the way that just didn't allow it to happen. And then I was like, actually, it doesn't feel right. And I know that when I do have the space and time and capacity and the conditions are right, I'll do it. And so here we are. So just again, another moment of like fully, deeply trusting in myself. Love that for me. Okay, so my word for 2025, drum roll please. My word for 2025, I actually have a couple of words, guys. So the first one, sort of the main one and the main theme is connection. Oh, I'm going to talk a bit more about that and kind of elaborate. And the second one that kind of has just been like popping in, coming through more and more is the power within. I was wondering if like I should condense it down or shorten it to power, but I was like, no, power doesn't quite feel right. It's the power within that feels right. And it's almost like that connection also links into and connects with the power within as well. So let me explain. So connection is my word for the year. It dropped end of last year, very, very end of last year. And it just feels so good. It just feels so good and so right. And connection in all the ways. So there's so many layers and yeah, I'll elaborate on that one. So firstly, it's like connection to myself, connection within. So connecting to my intuition and really devoting time and space and love and energy to really strengthening my intuition more and more, spending more time there and living from my intuition. I also, from a spiritual point of view, it's like connecting to the universe, I would call it, or the higher powers that be for me, and trusting, like connecting to that loving guidance and support and the love that's always around me, believing, trusting in manifestation and abundance and that beautiful connected energy. It's also about connection to my husband, to my children, to my child. I always say children because I would love to have more children, but connecting to my child. so funny. I catch myself doing this all the time. They're like, I thought you only had one. I do only have one. So yeah, it's like our family connection, that love, that tight unit in our household, but also connection to my wider family, to my friends. I really want to devote more love and time into deeper, richer connections. I have some wonderful connections in my world and love so many wonderful humans around me, but I really would love to just invest in those more and feel more of those connections. And then also like connection to my community, connection to you guys. I'd love to do some in-person connections and networking and just getting out more and connecting more. And I feel like the sense of community and connectedness is a really key theme for me this year. And I'm just smiling the whole way through because it feels so freaking good. Definitely something that I want for the new year. And now the second part of that is the power within. And again, I mean, that really links with the intuition, right? Is recognizing that I have all of my own answers within, that I can deeply trust myself, and that there's so much resilience and power and strength within me. And I feel like, man, I've grown so much. So much, like you just cannot put it into words, over forever since I started my personal development journey. But I feel like that sense of resilience and inner strength and commitment and devotion to myself and my growth has just grown so much in the last couple of years. And I think that's a largely part of my motherhood journey, and so many things, my business growth and so many things along the way. But that's a big part of it. And so it's like recognizing and harnessing, embracing my own power within. And I feel like, I think there's more words to come around that, but maybe I haven't quite like verbalized them yet, or it hasn't quite come through yet. But that is a really big one. I think it's part of the connection piece. So really, really, really excited for those. So those are my words for the year. And just to summarize a few of the intentions and goals that I have for myself this year, and in the business as well. So a couple of personal ones. We would love to expand our family and call in another baby this year. That would be so, so wonderful. We would be so blessed, so blessed. A big other one for us personally in our family is that we want to renovate our house. We're going to do a big extension in the back of our property and add two more bedrooms and an ensuite and walk-in robe. So we'll have a lot more space in our beautiful home, which I'm really excited for. So that's a huge project. What else? So one of my big personal ones is obviously meditation, and shared this for my Instagram story this morning. Every single day without fail, doesn't matter where, how long, when, it's happening. Meditation and prioritizing that connection to myself and making that more of an every single day habit, not a when I can habit, which it has sort of slipped into since I've become a mother. I must be honest around that one. So that's really exciting, and that's one of my big personal goals as well. Some of my other more business coaching goals is really just refining and aligning a little bit more of my funnels and my client customer journey systems. So looking at the offers that I have available and how they work with each other, and ultimately calling in more one-to-one life coaching clients and one-to-one business coaching clients, as I mentioned at the start. So excited for the beautiful humans that I'm going to support there. If that's you, make sure you reach out. There's spots available right now to be coached by me this year. So that's really exciting. And then, looking at the funnels and the offers that I have available and just streamlining things a wee bit, making a few tweaks and changes with systems, etc. The other big one is community growth. And then the third one is connection. Of course, me personally out there connecting, but also creating more connecting spaces and opportunities and experiences in person as well. And the community growth is more around YouTube, emails, and Instagram, knowing that those are my key platforms and marketing spaces, platforms. I'm just really excited for this to come. I feel like it literally just feels so right, so good, so aligned. And I feel like I'm just looking back and thinking, thank my past self for being willing to go there and muddle through the trickier seasons and the challenges of last year. And I'm sure that this year is going to be, it's still going to have its own challenges in its own ways. But I'm really excited for this year, knowing that I have a greater sense of alignment and authenticity, like dialed up. A lot of that is going to be like bold, unapologetic, authentic messaging and marketing through my content, through my podcast, YouTube, Instagram, etc., emails. And yeah, just so glad that I went through that, and I've figured things out more. Figured things out more. And again, so it probably sounds really weird to hear me say this, because you probably wouldn't have seen this from the outside in. But if you're a long-time follower or listening for a while now, or follow me on Instagram, whatever. However, it's been a really big internal process for me, and something that I'm really, really proud of. And 2025 feels really expansive, really exciting, just loving the growth that I've been through in the prior year. That's just set me up so beautifully right now for this season. And I trust that wholeheartedly. And I think that that's, like I said, that was one of my biggest lessons from last year. And the biggest thing that I would just sort of summarize is, like, if you're in some of those challenging seasons, or the voids, or the figuring out stages, or the growth edges that feel really uncomfortable, like, keep going and stay in the game. And it honestly is all worth it. It honestly is all worth it. And you're going to come out the other side, and you're going to learn the lessons, and you're going to grow, and you're going to refine and tweak and up level. And it's going to be so, so beautiful and worth it. And you'll look back on this time and be like, so grateful for myself for staying strong and holding in there and seeking out the support where I needed it. And and going there and doing it. So I think that's my parting words of wisdom today. So thank you so much for being here. I hope that was really, I think it was interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope that it gave you a bit more of an insight into 2024 and the year that's been for me personally and in my business. And some of the things to look forward to in 2025. So excited for this. Thank you so much for being here as well. From the bottom of my heart, I can't do what I do without you. And it really means the world to have you here on this journey and to be supporting you. This is 100% my why and my vision and my aim. My mission is to really be impacting humans in really beautiful, powerful ways, to support them to be their most authentic selves, to feel empowered, to feel confident, self-believing, trusting, worthy, and through their businesses to create beautiful heart-led, soul-led businesses, and creating impact in those beautiful ripple effects in their own lives, in their clients' lives, and in their communities. Oh, all the feels. All right, my loves, I can't wait to hear your word, your goals, your intentions for this next year ahead. So let me know, reach out. Would love to hear from you. All right, beautiful humans, have a beautiful rest of your day, and here's to an incredible year ahead.